how you prepare for a golf tournament.
Well, I hit balls maybe 20 minutes, putt a little bit, smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes, drink 3 Diet Cokes, and go to the first tee. Some days I won't even go to the range.
Thank you, Mr. John Daly. It is episode 178 of Puck Sports. We welcome you in. It's a Tuesday. It's June 25th. It is lovely outside. It's day 2 of summer break. Some parents would describe it as hell, as the kiddos are all at home gobbling up all of your internet speed. All right, episode 178. We'll cover the Mariners. We're going to try and understand. I'm going to try and understand what the hell's going on with Bryan Woo. Their lead in the AL West is dwindling. We'll cover that. Jim Duquette gave his thoughts yesterday's program about some trade targets there for the Mariners, specifically in right field, which they need help there in right field. Did anyone see Dom Canzone's throw yesterday? Excuse me? It was a grounder from right field, shallow. Right field. Bet M's Summer Under a Tour continues, giving an update on that one. Back to Duquette. He gave us a guy or two to look at there in right field, some outfield help, and obviously who the Houston Astros possibly could be targeting. My guy, those sons of guns. And then, of course, we wrap up every daily puck drop, the DPD, with Hey, What the Puck. We'll talk about an intoxicated Pirates fan who did something funny. And then also JJ Reddick had his press conference yesterday. Here's the hard copy of the Seattle Times. God, I love some hard copy. That didn't come out right. Boy, do I love some hard copy. That didn't sound right. We need a drop for that one. But yeah, wait till you hear what JJ Reddick said in his press conference yesterday. Who came off as just very smug and kind of an a-hole during the whole how long that press conference was. If you're unfamiliar with the Daily Puck Drop, we do it every single day. We drop it at 10 a.m. We recap the last night in the world of sports and life in general, and also get you prepared for the beautiful day ahead in the world of sports. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, leave comments below. We try to get to as many of those as we possibly can. And just look at my beautiful face. I can't believe some of you actually watch me. Do you watch me just to make yourself feel better? To say, hey, at least I don't look like that. That's okay. That's fine. I do that stuff all the time. I blow out other people's candles to make mine brighter. That's fine. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, those are obviously the two main ones. YouTube Music is a good one as well. Also, for you Android users, maybe Amazon Music. Thank you. Please follow. Please subscribe. Please rate the show. It all helps there in the long run. All right, let's get to Bryan Woo. I don't know what's going on with him. But I'm going to say this about Bryan Woo, and he doesn't want to be there. He is getting dangerously close into and again, I was the president of this fan club, and I love Bryan Woo. But Woo is getting dangerously close to the CJ Procise section of sports fandom. He is getting into that neighborhood right now, because this guy cannot stay healthy. And some of it, now again, some of you think this is unfair, but fair or unfair, once you start getting labeled as an injury-prone player, stuff is just hard to overcome. Now, keep in mind, I was the president, the founder, the president, the secretary, all of it, of the CJ Procise fan club. I love CJ Procise. There are days when I'll just be laying around thinking of that game. He had 2 great games, one against New England and one, I think, against Philadelphia. And I think about those games a lot for some weird reason of just what could have been with CJ Procise. And I start to get those feelings a little bit with Bryan Woo. What can Bryan Woo be? For 3+ innings, he looked great yesterday. Velocity was up. He looked fantastic. Cal talked about it afterwards. Scott Service talked about it afterwards. Just how dialed in he looked. But again, throws a pitch. It's not the elbow. I mean, the good news is it's not the elbow. It's not the forearm. But now it's a hamstring issue. He is built like a Greek god. He obviously spends a lot of time in the weight room, more than I do, and that's why I'm wearing black. So I'm hiding my fat right now. If you're watching, you can see that. Now, if you're listening, you can't, but you can feel it, can't you? Through the spoken word. Whatever he's doing in the off season, And I was listening to the postgame show. Shout out to Shannon Dreyer. This is our first drop of Shannon Dreyer on the show, who I love, by the way. And she had made note that, hey, there's something that's going to have to be reevaluated in the offseason, what he's doing. And she's 100% right. Whatever his workout regime is, it's not working. Now, he looks great. Like, he gets off the bus, the Mariners pulling up to their team hotel. That's how you want a guy to look. But he is just he just has this reputation right now of just nagging little injuries. It's this forearm has been the number one thing. They said afterwards he's never had this lower body stuff, so this is the first time. But I think for his sake, if he wants to continue to be one of these, frontline or potentially to be a frontline starter, be a starter consistently, Bryan Woo in the offseason is going to have to reevaluate what he's doing, or he's not going to be able to be a starter. He's just not. You starter, you've got to depend on a guy to go out there and throw you, 6, 7 innings every single night. And right now, you're just not there with Bryan Woo, and he's been unable, minus last year for a brief amount of time, to give you those consistent starts. And if he can't consistently give you that, then I know people hate it. You're going to have to reevaluate what you want to do with him. Do you want to then just switch him and throw him out of the bullpen and be like, you know what, we just can't depend on you every 5 days. Maybe we'll just throw you in the bullpen and find a new role for you. And I'm not saying that's going to solve everything for Bryan Woo, but try something different. Scott Service asked yesterday about his thoughts there on Bryan Woo. IL stint, what is next for Woo moving forward?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll take I get an MRI tomorrow. Initial look is we just have to see. It's hard to project anything there. We just have to get an MRI tomorrow and see where we're at. Yeah, he's never had any lower body issues at all. So it's all new to him. Again, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We'll just have to wait and see what it looks like tomorrow.
So they can obviously put him in IL, bring up some bullpen help. They can move things around. They have an off day that's coming up, but it just you don't ever want to label someone soft. I don't think anyone that makes it into professional sports. I mean, I bristled at when people said that about Prosise. He's not tough enough. He's soft. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those injuries that Prosise had were just unlucky, and he couldn't stay healthy. And again, I don't know how much of it is it on the player. Some of it is just bad luck. I mean, this just can happen to players. It's not a freak accident with Woo. He's not falling down, not, tripping or tearing anything because he's running. It's just these, I don't want to call them soft tissue injuries, but the hamstring and, yesterday, obviously on that back leg, that's problematic. That's his power leg. He's pushing off his push-off leg. And if that can't get solved, I mean, we see hamstring issues just carry over for a long period of time. Long periods of time with athletes. So we'll see how long this stint's going to be out for him. Emerson Hancock could be an option for them down there in Tacoma, but he left his last start with back tightness. There is an option that I'll get to when we get to the comments from Jim Duquette talking about trades. A familiar name I think we can throw out. 4-3 loss yesterday. Their lead in the West is dwindling. They're 5.5 games up now on Houston. Houston was idle yesterday, so they didn't play. Texas did lose to the Brewers, so they have dropped back now to 6.5 games is the deficit there for the Rangers. The Astros, they get some help, right? Because they start a 2-game series here with the Colorado Rockies, and the Rockies are terrible. It was good to see Cal Raleigh with a home run yesterday. He blasted that thing in the 4th inning. It was weird. Someone had emailed me. And again, you can send me an email. I love to talk to people. I really do. I don't talk to many people other than my family, okay, and random strangers. I do walk the dogs around and I start asking people, hey, what do you think about what the Mariners should do at the deadline? I think some people in my neighborhood think it's odd. I find it funny because I like catching a lot of these people off guard. And everybody in my neighborhood walks with their head down, which I don't understand. It's okay to say hi to people. Emailed me talking about how the offense, there's no way that they can trade Harry Ford because Cal Raleigh is so terrible at the plate. You can't do it. I'm like, really? Okay. Well, I know his average isn't good, but I think he might be the one player I'm going to look past his batting average. Cal Raleigh offensively has the 8th best slugging percentage among catchers in baseball. He also has the 8th best OPS among catchers in baseball. He has the 2nd most home runs in baseball among catchers and the 3rd most runs batted in. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take all of it. Because you want to know why I'm going to take all of it? Because he's literally the 2nd, or you could make an argument, the best catcher defensively in baseball. If you go to Fangraphs and look at depth, that defensive fielding runs and positional adjustment stat that Fangraphs has, 42.2. He's number 2 behind Jonah Heim. The DRS, the defensive run save stat that Fangraphs use, that those are the 2 main stats that would judge a catcher defensively. His number is 26. It's number 1 in baseball. He's ahead of Heim. You can make an argument, not even make it. It is. He's the best defensive catcher in baseball. He and Jonah Heim, right there. Plus, you're getting those numbers from him offensively. Yeah, Cal Raleigh's fine. Cal Raleigh, and I love the message. I understand. You might get frustrated with the batting average. I like batting average, too. I think it's still great to hit damn near 300. I think that's still an important. The fact that he hits low in the low 200s, yes, we'd all like the average to be up. But his power numbers are good. Defensively, he's elite. So I'm good with Cal Raleigh. That's why I hope when Jerry DiPoto was meeting with Scott Boras the other day that they were talking about an extension there for Cal Raleigh, which Jim Duquette, I should have pulled this clip and I did not. That's on me. Which Jim Duquette said yesterday that he believes you could have a Cal Raleigh extension in the neighborhood of where Will Smith is. And if you don't know what Will Smith is, Will Smith, I think, is in the, I want to say, I'm looking it up right now. He signed a 10-year, $140 million contract. Now that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But I'm in. Now there's other contracts that would have been a little bit, would be more comparable maybe if you're not going to do quite 10 years there. With Cal Raleigh, Realmuto there of the Phillies. He ended up inking a 5-year, $115 million contract with the Phillies back in the day. Wilson Contreras, his contract was a 5-year, $87 million deal. But again, Duquette said he thought it would be kind of under where Will Smith was, that it would be in that neighborhood of 140, and I don't know, quite 10 years, but a lot of money. I mean, Scott Boras is his agent and wants to set the market for Cal Raleigh. He's going to try and get as much money as possible there for Cal Raleigh. But I'm off on a tangent talking about Cal Raleigh. You know how I feel about Cal. I want the guy back. I want him back right now. I love Cal Raleigh, everything about him. Garver with a 2-run home run yesterday. That was great. Left field gave him a lead in the 7th inning, a 3-1. Couldn't hold it in the 8th inning. Austin Voth got the first 2 outs. You know where he went to school? Kentwood. You know where Kentwood is not in? Not Kent. It's in Covington. But he walked Taylor Walls. He had him down 1-2. This was the theme of this game. They couldn't get guys out once they got 2 strikes on him. Jose Siri had the single, and then the ground rule double. That cut the lead to 1. Then they had to bring in Munoz again. He comes in. He walks Jose Caballero after being up 1-2 on him. And then the hard chopper past Ty France there at first base. I mean, Ty could have made that play. Yandy Diaz to score 2. Did anyone notice the throw by Dominic Canzone from right field to home? I put it up on Twitter, X, Puck 2040. Go check it out. Look where he's at, and then look at the throw, and he basically threw a grounder from shallow right field to home. It's honestly one of the worst throws I've ever seen. And yes, I'm being a little sarcastic here. Maybe not. I'm pretty sure that I saw kids this weekend that play 11U baseball make a better throw from right field to home. It's just not good. This is on the heels last week, and that extra inning loss to, or the extra inning loss, or the last, what was it? Is it the 10th inning? Yeah, to the Marlins when he was in left field and he threw home. He can't be playing out there. He has no arm. He can't throw home. I mean, offensively, yes, he's been able to turn around, but dude, that is a liability out there. An absolute liability having him out there. The inability to make that throw. Again, yes, and if someone heard that, well, could you make the throw? Well, no, I couldn't make the throw. I'm not a professional baseball player. I think everyone would expect a professional baseball player playing in right field with a ball hit like that and a play at the plate is going to hit the catcher without hopping the ball like 15 times. I mean, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing in the outfield? It makes it imperative they have got to upgrade the outfield spot and specifically right field. The Bet M's under Summer Tour continues. The total yesterday was 7.5. Last night, they won that barely, covered it by half a run. So we're 24, 26, and 2. And today will be Castillo on the mound. Therefore, the Mariners game 2 against Tampa Bay. The total is 7.5. You know what we're doing. We're taking the under on every single Mariners game this year. And again, pretty even Steven. God, we got off to such a great start. And then we lost I don't know, felt like 15 in a row or something. But 24, 26, and 2 right now on the Bet M's under Summer Tour. All right, Jim Duquette was on yesterday, our weekly conversation with Jim, all brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. Big thanks to Andy Largent and the crew there. We talked about, what the Astros would be looking at in terms of a trade value and market, also what the Mariners would be looking at. We talked about first base options, which are kind of similar of what the Mariners want and what the Astros want. Names that we've heard before, for sure. But the Astros, now only 5.5 back, are going to probably be aggressive, and they need help at first base. Also, what the Mariners potentially could do in right field if they can't land Luis Robert Jr. His Duquette on yesterday's show.
Guerrero for sure. Alonso, if they make him available. Those are the main guys. If the Reds were out of it, they could move Candelario. Those are the main names that I keep, kind of hearing at the moment. I'm not hearing any others currently, but those are the ones that you kind of look at and go, all right, yeah, they're not bad. An outfielder that's getting a lot of play, if the Nationals fall out of it, is Lane Thomas. And so Lane is an outfielder that had 25 home runs. He can run. He can steal bases. He's an under-the-radar player, used to be a former Cardinal. He's a guy that is getting a lot of attention. Jazz Chisholm's a guy that, in the right situation would be a good fit.
So Lane Thomas, 28 batting, 241. He's slugging 421 this year. His OPS of 717, the 8 home runs, 31 RBIs, as Jim was kind of going on about him, making $5.4 million this year. Next year is the last year of his arbitration. Therefore, for him, Will Smith, for Lane Thomas, unrestricted free agent there in 2026. He had also, Lane Thomas could be someone out there you think about if they cannot land Luis Robert Jr., who's going to be a hot commodity. We're going to get to a list of that MLB.com put together of teams that are going to be going after Luis Robert Jr. Jazz Chisholm doesn't do it for me. Center fielder, not a lot of power, not enough pop, and he's a head case. It's kind of an issue there. So I'm kind of steering clear of Jazz Chisholm Jr. That doesn't do it for me. Maybe it does it for other people, but I'm not giving up a lot for him. Lane Thomas is not going to cost you a lot. Obviously, I think everyone wants to set their sights on. I mean, I think there's 2 guys out there. I think it's Vlad Guerrero Jr. and I think it's going to be Luis Robert Jr. But so is everybody else. MLB.com lists the 10 teams looking at Robert Jr. Mariners are number 2 on their list. The Phillies are number 1. The Phillies, despite their record and what they're doing, they've got issues all over the place there in the outfield. And their GM, Dave Dombrowski, is going to be uber aggressive. He always is. Because I think there's some in this fan base that do, but that city, that ownership, and that fan base demands winning. Demands it. I don't know how much I don't think it carries over here as much. I don't. I personally don't think it does. I don't know how much people here demand to win. Absolutely 100% demand to win. That city, that fan base, they do. So keep an eye out for the Phillies being aggressive to go out and get Robert Jr. Other teams listed were the Braves, the Cubs, the Royals, the Rangers, the Orioles, and, wait for it, the Dodgers. Can you imagine an outfield? Where would they put Robert? Can you imagine an outfield that had all those guys? I mean, my God. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Just all those offensive players. A lineup that has Teoscar, Will Smith, Ohtani, Robert Jr., eventually Mookie Betts coming back, Freddie Freeman. Just stupid. But they do need help offensively. Like their bottom of their lineup is not all that good. But and people overvalue the prospects for the Dodgers all the time. And they could probably put a real aggressive package together for Robert Jr. One name I thought about, especially, and I thought about this yesterday, even before Woo was injured, and it's kind of been talked about a little bit now on social media as well. What about Chris Flexen? What about kicking the tires? I mean, the White Sox are done. They're not going anywhere. We focus so much on Robert Jr. and Crochet. I mean, Chris Flexen would be an under-the-radar move and not great and whatever. You need help pitching eventually. You're going to need some help. Be nice to have some added depth. You could run him out of the bullpen if you needed to. You could spot start him. And with the situation with Woo being kind of up in the air, who knows what Emerson Hancock's going to give you? Yeah. He's familiar with your organization. His best years were here. These guys are so great with pitchers. Low level, low cost Chris Flexen move? Why not? Again, that's not going to be sexy. That's going to excite the fan base and everyone's going to get fired up for it. And I would be disappointed if that was the only thing they did. I'm just saying that, why not? Why not bring him back? He obviously had his best success here for sure. A quick note on the Seahawks, kind of a minor move yesterday. They got a new running back, Ricky Person Jr. Played at North Carolina State. Played last 2 years there for the Birmingham Dragons. So the 6th running back on the roster. Why not? Looks physical, looks the part. As they keep adding to that physical running back room that they have there for the Seahawks. Training camp is right around the corner. It's less than a month away. In fact, about 3 weeks away. The first players start rolling in July 17th. That is unbelievable. All right, the daily puck drop, the DPD. We wrap it up every single show with Hey, What the Puck? Pirates fan, wait for it, was intoxicated and stole a yacht and went down the Allegheny River. Huh? Looking for actual pirates. He thought there were actual pirates on the Allegheny River. How about that? 38-year-old Michael Fisher broke in early Friday morning and boarded an 82-foot yacht, which was unmoored, and then just floated it down the river. As he told police, while intoxicated, you don't say, hammered, going, I'm looking for actual pirates. Like, honestly, and pardon my French, how shit-faced do you need to be? That you break into an 82-foot yacht and are floating down, and then when you get arrested, and he passed out, I think, and ran it up onto a bank, and then someone called the cops. Like, what do you think this guy's drinking? You can't possibly get that drunk on just beer, right? It's got to be beer. When do you think he hit the brown liquor? When did the brown water come out? Probably beer all day long. Gets to about what? What do we say? 9 o'clock, 9:30, bloated, kind of tired a little bit, is drunk, but not, he wants to get to that next level. And so Michael said, you know what? It's 4-finger pour time. Let's open up the good stuff. Buy some wild turkey there for old Michael and start pouring that down his throat. And then all of a sudden thought, hey, it's a good idea. Let's just jump on an 82-foot yacht and float down the river looking for pirates. He was arrested, and he faces charges of theft. Yeah. Receiving stolen property. Now, I read this report. I don't understand what receiving stolen property means. I guess someone's got to explain that to me. Any lawyers out there watching or listening to this? And defiant trespassing. So kudos to you, Michael Fisher. We had a tie one on last night looking for Pirates down the Allegheny River. All right, we wrap it up here with Hey, What the Puck? JJ Reddick. Boy, did he come off as kind of an ass in his press conference yesterday. Reddick was introduced as the new Lakers head coach, sitting up there, and of course, no previous head coaching experience. Again, there's plenty of coaches that have coached in the NBA and other sports with no coaching experience. He's around the game. He's played the game at a highest level. Seems to have a real good basketball mind. You probably seen him, watched him, listened to him, and all that. He was asked about the misperceptions of him and how people misperceive who he is. And does that bother him, or does he think about that at all?
I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a fuck.
Okay, you don't say. Right to the point. Kind of caught everybody off guard, right, when he dropped an F-bomb at a press conference. But, all right, good for you, JJ. He came off as smug, and if you didn't like him before, his press conference isn't going to make you like him anymore. This is the best part, though, because he's so, again, I'm going to swear, he's so full of it. I know I catch myself swearing. This is 23 years in radio where I feel like I can't swear. And so every time I think I'm going to swear, I cut myself off. I know it's stupid because you can swear in here. Someone, wait for the laugh. Wait for the laugh about 10 seconds into his answer from someone in the audience, because he was asked by a female reporter about what were his conversations like with LeBron James. Now, he's the star player on the team. He's friends with LeBron. He did a podcast with LeBron. He says that podcast venture with LeBron is over. But again, here's a guy who has a personal relationship with LeBron James. Not only a friendship, but a working relationship. And he was asked, what were the conversations like with LeBron leading up to you making your decision and then being offered the Lakers job? But wait for, in the background of another, I'm going to assume, reporter while he's giving this question or giving this answer.
He didn't provide any advice. LeBron and I did not talk about the Lakers job until Thursday afternoon, about 30 minutes after I was offered the job. And that was very intentional on both our parts. I knew I had an understanding that he did not want to be involved in this. And for me, I didn't want to go down the path of hypotheticals with someone that I consider a friend and someone that I have a great amount of respect for. So for us, it just came down to literally Thursday afternoon. And I talked to him for about 15, 20 minutes and got off the phone.
How about the reporter in the back, whoever the reporter was, maybe a fan, I don't know who it was, but he's like, come on. There is not a person in that press conference that believes you, JJ Reddick. Not one. Do you think everyone at that press conference are a bunch of idiots? There is no one that believes that you didn't have a conversation with LeBron James. Why do you think you have the job? You have the job because of LeBron James. If LeBron James wasn't playing for the Lakers, you wouldn't be the head coach of the Lakers. You wouldn't even be on the radar of the Lakers. You have the job because you did a podcast with them, sipping wine, which is a hell of a way to do a podcast. We might introduce this here on Puck Sports. If there is a struggling winery out there, or a winery that would like to have their name out there more, and you would like to be a sponsor of Puck Sports, hit me up. I will drink your wine as we record this show. Yes, we record in the morning. I don't think there's anything wrong with a Merlot at 8:45. I really don't. But there's no one that believes you. No one. Why do you and that guy's reaction, whoever that was absolutely priceless. I love when people think the rest of us are a bunch of idiots. LeBron James sought you out, gave his approval, and hired you. Nobody else hired you at the Lakers. Jeannie Buss didn't do it. Rob Pelinka didn't do it. LeBron James hired JJ Reddick. Okay? That's it. That's all. Your success is based on LeBron James, and that is it. And if it doesn't work out, it's going to be that LeBron James screwed up because he's the one who made the hire. And he's going to be on his 5th different coach or 6th different coach since he's been an LA Laker. But let's not blur the lines here. The only reason he got hired is because your wine drinking friendship there with LeBron. All right, that's it for Hey What the Puck. Another edition of the DPD is in the books, the Daily Puck Drop. Episode 178 is finished. All right, coming up later on the show, we have a podcast with Brad Adam, talking Mariners baseball. We'll talk about the series so far with the Tampa Bay Rays, the update on Bryan Woo, all that kind of stuff with Brad Adam coming up a little bit later. And then all things just sports commentary on everything. College athletics, pro athletics, life, parenting, all of it with the great John Canzano. Both episodes being dropped later today here at Puck Sports. Please follow, like, and subscribe on YouTube. Also listen, like, subscribe, rate, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. We'll talk to you on Wednesday. As always, we promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah. I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!